What's going on, you guys? Again, I am, as always, Mr. Grimreaper 2 with Dark Knight 7, and welcome again to another edition of Back in Time. And today we're going to be talking about the 1997 sports comedy horror film, The Sixth Man. Now, The Sixth Man is directed by Randall Miller. It stars Marlon Wayans, Kadeem Hardison, Kevin Dunn, Michael Michelle, and David Paymer. And the film is basically about these two brothers. These two brothers were brought up on basketball and stuff like that. You know, it's one of those cheesy sports movies. But we're gonna go through the plot, talk about it, and stuff like that. So, and I think Knight has not seen this movie, but I will show it to him on the 17th. So,
Yeah, definitely. When I watch it, and maybe down the line we'll give y'all a spoiler review. So, but we're gonna do the pod so you guys can get familiar with it, and then take it from there. Here we go.
yeah. So, all right. Antoine and Kenny Tyler, two close brothers, play a basketball game in 1986. Their motto for each other is A&K all the way. Created by their mother, their father James coaches the team and directs Kenny to take the last shot for the win. But he passes the ball to Antoine out of fright, who misses and costs them the game. That night, Kenny tries to cheer Antoine up, still upset about missing the shot. James tells him that all they have is to do is stick together and anything can happen. In the present day, both Antoine and Kenny are a famed duo on their University of Washington college basketball team, the Huskies. Celebrating their most recent win at a nightclub, Kenny meets R.C. St. John, played by Michael Michelle, a reporter for UW, with whom he sparks an interest in. During a road game at UCLA, Antoine scores a slam dunk before suffering a heart attack while hanging on the rim. Coach Peterson, played by David Paymer, informs Kenny and the team after the game that Antoine has died. Without Antoine, the team begins to fall apart. During one game, however, odd sequences begin to occur, leading to a surprising win. Antoine appears to Kenny in the locker room, revealing he aided the team supernaturally, and explains that the reason he's back is because Kenny called him. Kenny's teammates begin to question his concerning behavior, as only Kenny can see Antoine. Yeah. Anyway, and he informs his teammates about Antoine's reemergence, who are skeptical of Antoine uses until Antoine uses supernatural forces to persuade them. Under Antoine's influence, the team storms the competition and eventually make it to the NCAA finals or tournament, whatever, for the first time in over a decade. Meanwhile, Kenny's relationship with RC deepens despite Antoine's efforts to disband the two, believing RC is only out to get a story on him, which is partially true. RC originally prepares to submit a story to the paper when Kenny discloses to her that Antoine is aiding the team, but eventually decides against it. The rest of the team begin to have misgivings about Antoine helping them in their games. Kenny informs Antoine, who becomes irate and wrecks the room they're in. After calming down, Antoine relates to Kenny that he never wanted to pass away. Kenny tells the team he wants Antoine to stay because he doesn't want to lose his brother again, which is understandable. However, in the Final Four against Georgetown, Antoine's antics seriously injure their All-American Gerard Smith, a close friend of Kenny's. While Kenny visits Gerard at the hospital, RC arrives and knows it's because of Antoine. Having discovered his spirit and clues in his game's footage, RC tells Kenny that he's letting Antoine run his life even in death, and will never truly live unless he lets Antoine go. Kenny tells Antoine not to interfere during the championship game with the team by his side, or they voluntarily forfeit. Disappointed, Antoine leaves but lingers nearby. The team plays poorly in the first half of the championship game without Antoine's erstwhile preternatural intervention. Thank God I got through that word. Spurring a halftime speech from Kenny that rouses his teammates and leads to an impressive rally in the second half to bring the game close. With the score tied in the waning seconds, Kenny attempts the game-winning shot. Antoine tries to help, but Kenny tells him not to, making the shot on his own and winning the Huskies their very first championship. Before ascending to the afterlife, Antoine shares one final moment with his brother, reminding Kenny that he will always be with him. As Kenny celebrates with his team, Antoine goes off into the distance under an array of lights. Coach Peterson sees this and asks Kenny if this was Antoine, to which Kenny admits, saying their mantra, A and K all the way, thus ending the sixth man. Okay. What did you think of the movie so far?
By reading, you gotta have it's about the bond of brothers.
Yeah.
And of course they grow up together, which is a good thing. And then, unfortunately, one of the brothers happens to pass away.
Yeah.
But he's there with him, and it will show you that, the brother and sisters are together, even if they're gone, they're always with you, man. So that's very touching to me, And of course, I know I haven't seen it, but it's going to be a good movie, and I can't wait to see it for myself.
Yeah.
Nothing really tugs the heartstrings more than just a brotherly bond, and that's what the sixth man basically shows, the bond between two brothers, and it goes under.
Yeah, I want to talk about Antoine first, the character of Antoine.
Yes.
At first, when I watched this movie, this was like years ago. I watched this movie. I've seen this movie like 1,000 times. I thought that he was being, which I still do believe. I think that he was being a little selfish. You know what I mean? He wanted to get that brass ring so much that it caused in my personal opinion, it caused him so much stress. That's why he had the heart attack. You know what I mean? He wanted that brass ring so much that he went out the hard way. You know what I mean? So, but I think I like the brotherhood aspect between Antoine and Kenny. And stuff like that. And I think that you're right about that. It's about brotherhood. You know what I mean? It's about even though you're brothers, even though you have your spats and stuff like that, you still love each other. So yeah, but there was a lot of comedy in this movie. There's also some dramatic moments in this movie too that I liked. But it kind of, now that I'm 31 and I saw this movie, it's kind of a bit cheesy now. Thinking because this movie was made in '97, so that was like what, years ago, I think. But it was still a good movie. What did you think of? Trying to think here. What did you think of the relationship when he comes? Okay, there's a scene when Marlon Wayans' character is in the basketball thing, and stuff like that. He's by himself, and this was like right after his Antoine passes away. He, I think that's one of the most emotional scenes in the movie when he looks up at his brother's jersey and says, "I need you." What did you think? What did you think about? What did you think about? I know you haven't seen the movie, but
well, after that, I can never really picture it. And you know something? Talk about really tugging at the heartstrings. Talk about really, and it goes back to what I said earlier about brotherhood and about siblings being together, and they were basically inseparable. But until what happened to his brother Antoine, and just looking at that jersey, you can't be gone. You can't be dead. You can't be gone. I need you. Yeah. I need you. And just not accepting the fact that he's gone, but he is.
Yeah.
If they could just picture that, and I can just imagine, what if, imagine being, that shoes and the guy's shoes,
Yeah. Excuse me.
Excuse.
Thank you. But I think the movie was still pretty good. And I have to disagree with Roger Ebert, who said that the movie was just another paint by the numbers sports movie. I gotta disagree with him on that situation because I thought that the movie had heart. I thought that the movie had a lot of good comedy moments in it. It had it may not be a horror movie, but it's still it had its dramatic moments as well in the movie. But I still love this movie, even though it's kind of cheesy at times, even though it's kind of which I don't see why it got a 23% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is stupid. But it's one of those movies that you have to see more than once to get its message, and stuff like that. And that's what I liked about it. I liked the idea that these two brothers would go. These two brothers loved each other and stuff like that. They have a common ground with each other, if that means anything. But I laughed when there was some moments in the movie where I completely laughed my ass off. You know what I mean? Antoine was messing with the team the whole time. He was messing with other people as well, and it just turned out to be hilarious. You know what I mean? But I just think that I think that the Sixth Man deserves to be. I think the Sixth Man deserves legendary status and stuff like that for being hilarious, for having dramatic moments, for having heart and stuff like that. But what do you think, man?
After reading it, and like I said, I probably will when I watch it. I can't incline to see all that. I mean, and that's what I see in this movie is it does have its funny moments. Of course, it will have funny because when it comes to the Wayans brothers, they always all the funny stuff. That.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, and then of course there's also when someone dies, that's a very serious thing. Death is hard. So that's a very serious thing. So it combines that with the comedy a little bit, and you can kind of see how the story plays out. And I see that, and I haven't seen the movie particularly, but I can kind of see it in the plot. Just about the plot itself, I can see how the funny parts. When he's messing with them because they don't want to believe that his brother's helping him, that his brother's here, and you see those in types of movies where only the one person can see them and other people can't, and they'll see the guy like talking like they talk to himself, and there's nobody there he's talking to.
Yeah.
But, and you've seen that. So, and the only way to show his team that my brother's here was that, what he was doing to mess with their heads,
Yeah.
And, but yeah, of course. It have its funny moments, and then, of course, it has its dramatic moments, like death, and so, yeah, I see this. I see that, and like I said, when I watch this movie, I know I'm going to see a lot of that, and so, yeah, really.
Yeah. So, you're probably asking, Grim Knight, what did you give the movie? Well, I give it a 9.5 out of 10. It shaved a point off halfway, because there was some cheesy moments. Yes, there was some. Yeah, there was some cheesy moments. The pacing was kind of off a little, but it was all right. It was still a good movie. I still give this a 9.5 out of 10. It's one of my favorite movies as a kid. And yeah, so you agree with that assessment, dude?
Yes, I do. And like I said, I might have seen it, but now after his review, I will definitely, like I said again, I'm going to see it. I'm going to judge myself. And I can that, and that being fair, that's a good rating. But if you out there haven't seen it, well, you go ahead and see it. I'm going to be one of the ones to see it too. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I highly recommend you guys watch this movie if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, that's gonna be it for me and Dark Knight 987. We're gonna give you guys 2 more movie reviews, and then I'm gonna give you guys 4 reactions for today, and that'll be it for me and Night. Thank you for watching. That is gonna be it for us. I'm Mr. Grimreaper 2 with Dark 987, and we'll see you all in the afterlife. Peace.